I'm Megan Hamilton, and this is the Embracing Enchantment podcast. So here we are. It's September. It has that kind of feel to it, doesn't it? The air is a little bit cooler, keeps coming back. The warmth keeps coming back a little bit, but it's definitely not what it was in the middle of the summer when it was, in my eyes, way too hot. I don't function very well in that weather. I don't like the heat. I much prefer the cool weather. I love me some spring. I love me some autumn. I actually love the rollout now all the way to the end of the year. And then usually by around March, I'm a little tired of the coldness. But I wanted to talk about a couple of things before I launch into a tarot reading to support us through this full moon eclipse, the beginning of the eclipse season in Pisces that's happening on Sunday, September 7th at 2:09 p.m. Eastern Time. So significantly, when a full moon is in a water sign, you can expect some emotions, as you can anyways with a full moon. But then add an eclipse to it, there's an element of impact. And I will say this without getting into too much detail. I'm in the middle of a rebrand of my business right now. So if you know me outside of this podcast, I am a speaking visibility and confidence coach, and my business has been UBU Skills since 2018. And that's all going to change on Monday. It's not a coincidence that it's right after the full moon. And on top of that, card fell. We'll check on what that was in a second. On top of that, I also run a program for small business owners called Thriving Visibility. And cohort 5 closes again this Sunday. And it's the last one that I'm going to run. And you may notice that I make a lot of decisions on dates based on full moons and new moons. And I've been doing that, I would say, for the last 5 or 6 years. I really like to anchor my choices in nature and moon cycles and the cycles of nature, the wheel of the year. And maybe you like to do that too. One more thing I want to talk about is 2 more things. One is, it is hard to believe that we are where we are right now at this point in history, that things have gotten to the point that they've gotten to. And, in my social media, I'm pretty vocal about my politics. And I know I have been here, but it's not that I haven't meant to. It's just, it's literally just that I don't think about it as much when I'm doing the podcast. But we are in unprecedented times with some tyranny that is impacting everything that we do right now. And the suffering that has been happening, especially in Gaza, in Sudan, and all of the places where there is exceptional brutality happening. If you find yourself somebody who likes to put forth intentions or manifestations or commune with the universe in any given way, and you haven't found yourself, it hasn't occurred to you to include desire for change against suffering, then may I bring that to you as an offering? Because, it's not like you're being a jerk. It's just sometimes we don't think of things. May I bring that to you as an offering? There's this really incredible study that was done on people around the world who decided to meditate at the same time over a course of time. And they noticed a significant decrease in events, negative events around the world during the times when people were meditating. And, there's something to it. The consciousness, the collective unconsciousness. And perhaps we'll have an episode on that. You know who I'd really love to get on here to talk about that is Mitch Horowitz. Anyways, I digress. Let's look at the tarot card that fell. Sweetie pie, Queen of Cups. This is the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And Queen of Cups asks us to lean into our nurturing, emotional, caring, give a fucking shit about things side of ourselves. Because that is caring about things is what makes things happen, what makes people show up, what makes people fight against what's wrong. And the Queen of Cups in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, if you're listening, is the Queen is on a stone throne, and yet she is half in the water and half on solid ground. So we have a connection to our physical, the earth, tangible, empirical, and also a connection to the intuitive, the fluid, the flow, the water. Again, water, full moon in Pisces this Sunday. So where can you connect to your nurturing side and allow your emotions to flow? Here's something that's probably very true. When things have been a lot, which they have been, and that's just, like globally, everybody understands that there's a lot happening and it's deeply unsettling. And that's before we take a look at our own personal lives and the tragedies that have happened and the discomfort and the financial instability and the watching the systems that we are used to crumble. Like, I don't want to be all doom and gloom because I actually am not. I do feel quite hopeful and very committed to whatever it takes to change the systems that have got us to this place in the first place. However, it doesn't help us if we just kind of, gloss over everything that's happening or refuse to look at it or, side with the oppressors. So let's just keep our hearts soft and our emotions flowing. And maybe if you need a good cry, use this full moon in Pisces to let yourself release some of the emotions that might be pent up. Have a bath. Ask the water to help care for you. All right, what's next? Love to see it. Justice. Major Arcana. Balancing the scales. The disruption from an eclipse full moon and where the cards fall after that disruption. We know it's not just going to solve itself and it's not going to be one thing and everything's, back to normal. There's no normal to go back to. We know that. There hasn't been a normal to go back to, at least, thinking of big events for 5.5 years at this point. And I remember hearing somewhere, and this changed the course of sort of some of the things I, speak to the universe about when I'm doing my stuff in the morning, my stuff, is don't pray for peace, pray for justice. So pray, ask, commune, whatever you do, whatever words speak to you. What does justice look like? What, who needs justice? Where can you and me and all of us, collectively and individually, help to make progress towards justice? And what is justice? I've said in another place, I guess it was a blog post a year or two ago, I really struggle with justice because when I think about the justice system and any time I've had to be involved in it, if anything, if I was deserving of justice according to the law, if the justice was served, it wasn't like, cool, everything's fine now. So what is justice? Who's it for? And I think the other thing to think about with justice is you get what you deserve, right? So if you've done harm, you're going to get what you deserve. Justice will find you. And if you have been harmed, justice will find you. Hopefully. And hopefully soon and swiftly and in increasing beautiful joy and abundance. But I like that the Justice card comes up and it's major arcana, right? And there has to be strategy around this. So I say that because this judge is holding up I guess it's a king, holding up a sword. Sworders in the realm of air. We think of strategy, stuff of the mind, thinking. How can I contribute towards justice? And it can be just a small action, right? It can be, I don't know, like something, I know people are going to disagree and that's okay, but like liking a bunch of posts that support the politics that you support or the people who are doing action in the world to, signal boost. It could be sending money. If you don't have money, you could write a letter. There's all kinds of things, small things you can do and big things. But if everybody did them, it's a big difference. I often think about something I didn't really learn until later in life, which was this idea of the long game or the drops in the bucket adding up over time. Because I have really spent most of my life wanting things to happen immediately or else I get bored. And I guess it was with exercise as a person in my 40s, realizing that commitment and small steps over time are what actually make change. So those small steps, they're significant. And they also help you reroute your neural pathways towards believing that you are capable of change. Because when you feel helpless, it's really hard to get anything done. So whenever I feel helpless and overwhelmed, I do one small thing. And that's often all I need to get back on track. All right. What else? Three of Pentacles, working together, changing the power dynamics. Oh, I love this. So in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, you've got a Mason, an architect, and a monk. And they're all building what looks to be a church. And it's ascending upwards. We see that. And you would think that the architect and the monk would typically be holding higher positions of power. And yet, purposefully, the Mason is on a bench and is elevated above the monk and the architect. The lowly worker is actually, in this case, or this situation, more important. And what does that tell us? Let's pull out my book on Marxism. Just kidding. I think it is the idea that the power structures need to change. The people who have held the power for so long, who are absolutely and completely disconnected from what a regular person's regular life is like, that has to change. It is changing. It will change. Justice will change that. And we all, again, have to commit to that. Some of the things that have been comfortable before for us we can't do them anymore. They're contributing to this imbalance, this destruction that's been happening. So working together, community, valuing everybody's role, and elevating the roles that have traditionally, what used to really bother me? I was an administrative assistant for several years at a university. And while I was there, I really got to understand power dynamics and some of the absolutely bonkers things that would happen. And I learned that the role of secretary, which is now what we call an admin assistant, used to be held by men until the war. And when all the men went to war, they brought women in to be secretaries and paid them less and started to see it as a lower form job. And let me tell you, being an admin assistant is a wild ride. It's not easy. You have to have emotional flexibility. You have to have so many more skills than people realize. You have to project manage. You have to be able to work different machinery and keep, so many different things up in the air at the same time. Like it is not an easy job. And yet, all right, let's do one more. Call it a day. If you are loving this, go ahead and just press pause and make sure you're following, okay? And if you want to, head on over to the YouTube channel and click subscribe. Because there's some really exciting guests coming up, especially the one who will be out in 2 weeks from now. And then beyond that, on Halloween. I'm actually so excited about the Halloween one. Sometimes I just don't like to talk about things in advance because you just never know what's going to happen. However, it's kind of, not only is it like an anniversary show, but it's also a little bit of a milestone for me as a podcast host and producer, and shows a lot of growth in the podcast, which I'm really, really pleased with. Okay. And I need to know, because the last few have been tarot readings. Do you like this? Do you like alternating between a tarot reading and a interview? Because I love doing them, and it's certainly fun for me. But I want to know, or do you miss the sort of longer form journaling on a specific topic? Let me know. I'm here for you. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the birds in the background. Last one. What do we need to know for this full moon eclipse in Pisces on Sunday the 7th? Oh, the world. Oh. All right, listen. If you needed a sign that everything's going to work out, Here you are. This is your sign. But she's not sitting waiting. Okay, so in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, we have a laurel wreath tied with infinity knots. In the middle is the dancer, and she's naked, and she's holding 2 wands. But she is dancing. So she is taking action. She is moving. This is not just a passive, magical thinking. All of what's happening in the world for her in this card is because of action that she has taken, okay? All of the different ways. So we've got the 4 corners represented by each of the 4 directions. We've got air, we've got your fire, we've got your water, and we've got your earth. And also the 4, I never remember what this is called. Is it, you know how in, don't tell Colin I said this, but it's not mutable signs. It's not cardinal. Maybe it's cardinal signs. Fixed. It's the fixed signs. I know if you're anything like me, when you're listening to a podcast and like the person's not getting something right and you're like yelling at your phone, like it's fixed. Anyways, that's represented in each of the 4 corners. And she is dancing because she has reached the absolute full expression of who she is. And she is magical as a result, right? I think it's absolutely on point that the final card in the major arcana is a woman. Feminine energy, and that does not mean that men are excluded or non-binary people are excluded. This is just the idea we have of what feminine energy means, hearkening back again to our Queen of Cups. Nurturing, supporting, loving, leading with your heart. And she's dancing. She has manifested this completion of a cycle. And you know what, folks? I am flipping here for it. Let us go forth and be good people. Let us take care of each other. Let us make small steps towards justice. Let us take action and let us work together. And may this full moon in Pisces ignite our brains towards that direction. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. I really enjoy doing this podcast and I get such lovely feedback from folks and it means the world to me. Ha 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 ha. The world. Holding up the tarot card once again. Please head on over to the show notes and I'll put lots of links. Did I even mention? Oh, remember at the beginning I said there was going to be 2 things and then there was just one? And the other thing I wanted to tell you was if you live in Kingston, Ontario, and you're catching this early enough, I have the distinct pleasure of interviewing the fashion icon, Jeannie Becker of Fashion Television, at an incredible event called Elevate Her. Can you see it actually? If you're watching on YouTube, the poster's behind me on my wall. On September 16th. It's an all-day event. There's going to be lots of great speakers. I'm going to be your host for the whole day, so you're going to be sick of me by the end. I'm so excited to ask Jeannie Becker all of these questions. I'm reading 2 of her books right now to prepare. And yeah, I will put a link to get tickets in the show notes if you are out and about and close to Kingston. Anyhow, you can find all the information in the show notes. Please follow us. Please signal boost and share. It really helps when you share in Instagram stories. If you link back to the podcast episode, we're at embracingenchantment.com. And there are some really exciting episodes coming up. But if you're newish to the podcast, go back in the back catalog because we have had some like mind-blowing guests and have some mind-blowing guests coming up. This is a good thing. thank you for being here. And let's go forth and really let her rip. So long, old regime. See you later, patriarchy. We're done.